Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Paul Brown Show. This evening, my guest, Commissioner Jennifer Roberts. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I am just feeling that I'm so blessed to be working in this community.
Ms. Roberts, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. And this, I mean, it's just an honor having you on the show and just having you representing the city of Charlotte, because you are so awesome. You know, I really appreciate you coming on.
Well, I'm glad to be here. You know, I've always wanted to reach out to people. I want to make sure people feel like they're involved in government, that government listens to them and engages them and is open, because we govern best when more people have a voice.
Here we got some topics that we're going to be talking about today. First is the Democratic National Convention. It's coming up in September. What impact did Mayor Foxx, I know he had to do a lot of politicking to get this into Charlotte. What type of impact did Mayor Foxx have to President Obama to making this possible?
Well, I have to say, certainly he is a great asset to the city. Correct. And his connections with the President and the White House are a great help to our city and our region. But like everything else in Charlotte, it's always a team effort. And I know that he would say the same thing. Before him, Susan Burgess, a councilwoman who served many years on the city of Charlotte, the city council, she planted the seed with the Democratic National Convention Committee and with a lot of folks in Washington who make these decisions, even as far back as 2008. And she was very persistent about it and kept talking about it and saying, Charlotte has gotten big enough. We have enough hotel rooms. We have enough for people to do. We are a big city and a big player, and it's time to think about having a major convention right here in Charlotte. Mayor Foxx picked that ball up, and a lot of city supporters and boosters and business people got together and helped and really looked at it not just as a political event, but as a civic event, as a community event, something that will bring international attention to Charlotte, correct, will bring international media right here to Charlotte for at least a week. Some of them will come the week before and stay for 2 weeks. And I think that, you know, the number of reasons that the Democrats decided to pick Charlotte and North Carolina, I mean, one is we're so welcoming and wonderful and there's so much to do, and how could they say no? But also, it's a place that is, we're sort of a new arrival on the scene. You know, there are some more established cities that have been big cities for a long time, but we are really a place that a lot of folks have heard great things about, but may not have come here. And so just the appeal of, let's go see what's going on in Charlotte. I hear this great gossip, you know, I hear all these great things about this neat mayor and this amazing city and the growth and all the amenities, the cultural arts, and let's go check it out. So I think that, you know, part of it is that appeal. And then, of course, there's always the political appeal of the fact that I think the Obama administration wanted to say the South is still in play, North Carolina is in play. The winning strategies show that he's got to win North Carolina.
Correct.
So it's a combination of all those things that really landed that convention here. And I think it will have far-reaching, lasting impact, some of which we may not even know yet.
That's awesome. What would you consider to be the economical impact that this DNC convention provide to Charlotte?
Well, think about all the things that go into hosting a big event. You know, you've got lighting companies, you've got hotels, motels, restaurants, production companies, people who make souvenirs, you know, all kinds of souvenir companies, the t-shirts and the buttons and the hats and the stickers, all those things. And they're trying to use as many local companies as possible. They've had several you know, RFPs for different companies to bid on aspects of that contract. all those companies in the region, really, because we got, folks in other parts of North Carolina who are, creating goods and items for the convention. And maybe even South Carolina, since we're so close. So we got all that immediate impact, just, for the week or the 2 weeks if people come early or stay late. And then there's that second level of impact, which is that just the notice that that brings to the city, the companies, the people, the workers around the country, around the world who are going to look at that TV for that week and say, and learn things about Charlotte and see things about Charlotte. People who are part of that visiting group, will have, I don't know, dozens of governors and senators and congresspeople and ambassadors from other countries, media from other countries, they'll all be here. The impact of them learning what there is going on here and wanting more of it, wanting to return with a visit, maybe bring their family next time, wanting to bring their company.
That's true.
I mean, we'll have people here will say, I'm looking to open a new branch of my company. I'm going to try Charlotte because I see that people are friendly, the workforce is great, and there's all this to do. I never would have thought about it. Now I will. So there's a big ripple effect after that attention is here that, again, I think people haven't even really imagined what that's going to mean. And, some of the infrastructure changes that will happen, whether it's the equipment for the security forces, whether it's broadband, some of the wireless companies are really increasing the broadband capacity in uptown. Because think about all those cell phones.
Correct.
They're going to be in one place at one time. And they have to be able to serve all those people with cell phones. So the wireless, all that infrastructure is going to stay. So there is increased capacity for more conventions, for more companies locating here, for more of that kind of activity. And I think someone pointed out, in Atlanta had the Democratic Convention, and then not too many years later had the Olympics.
Correct. That was another question I was going to ask you.
So, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. How many years from now? I haven't done the analysis, but certainly there are events of that caliber, of that nature, of that size, that once we have a Democratic National Convention and everybody sees how wonderful it is, other things are going to present themselves. Other opportunities will come that would not have been considered before. In fact, even when it was first announced that we would host that convention, the people I've talked to at the Convention and Visitors Bureau have said that they started getting phone calls they never got before, of bigger conventions, of more complex conventions, of groups that wondered before if we had enough hotel rooms, if we had enough for people to do, who all of a sudden realized, well, they're having a major political convention. We know they have the capacity. And so we've already gotten more phone calls for those types of events.
And they've selected the venues, some of the venues that they selected. I mean, it's awesome. That will bring a lot of people to viewing these venues as well.
Absolutely, because the venues are around the region. One thing that's great is that we're using our neighboring county, Cabarrus County, and the Speedway, but also people are going to be staying in the hotels there. One of the convention hotels is in Concord, and they've got shopping.
Correct.
They've got Great Wolf Lodge. So the whole region is going to be showcased. And certainly the Speedway is a big part of our culture and our sports and all that. It's a big part of our history with the whole, birth of NASCAR in this area. And I think that the convention, the folks deciding where the convention would be held and how it would operate, were really smart to include the Speedway. I think that will be a great addition. And it's a regional asset. Just like our stadium, just like our Whitewater Center, all those are regional assets that a lot of people will have not seen before and are going to experience, and they're going to love it.
And I also heard that there's going to be a lot of law enforcement from all around the state. What type of impact will that be for these outside, counties?
Well, actually, it'll be from other states as well.
Oh, okay.
Because what's interesting, if you talk to Charlotte police and Charlotte firefighters, we have lent forces to places like Philadelphia, Hurricane Andrew in Florida. We have had teams of police and fire go to other states around the country in those emergency needs. And so so they have contacts, and they've kept up with some of their friends in these areas. They're all first responders. Correct. And we are going to see teams from Philadelphia and from other places come here. And so obviously that camaraderie with our security forces, with our first responders, is fabulous. It helps their professionalism, it helps their connections, it helps our country's ability to respond to crises in a more collaborative and coordinated fashion. So that's all good. The other side benefit could be that, again, a number of these folks may never have been to Charlotte.
Correct.
And they're going to come and they're going to tell their friends and they're going to tell their families and they're going to want to come back and visit. They're going to want to continue to establish those relationships, and all that impact is positive.
I noticed that they're creating a lot of committees in there. There's a lot of individuals that's joining these committees. That's an awesome, you know, everybody coming together, because we even have some Republicans. That's really.
Yes, we have. Well, of course, it takes a lot of committees to
Correct.
get an event of this size to be done, and there's so many different aspects of it. You know, there are the venues, there are the parties, there's the security, there's the hosting. There's a host committee. There's a steering committee that talks about sort of general policy questions. You know, what do we want to present the Charlotte region? You know, how do we want to present it? What are some of the main themes that we want to make sure people walk away with when they see Charlotte, when they think of Charlotte? And so all those different committees have been working for a while on all those aspects. And you're right, we do have on the steering committee a couple Republicans. Richard Van Root is one. And again, it's a civic event. It is a matter of civic pride, of community pride, to be showcasing this city and this region the way that we're going to be. And I think that it is, in the end, everyone is going to feel the benefit.
Outstanding. I know one of the key things that we need to look at is the safety of the city. I know they just went through some ordinance changes. How will these ordinance changes benefit not only the convention but the Charlotte city, the community?
Well, you know, it's very interesting because the ordinance changes were not just for the DNC.
Correct.
They were also in response partly to the Occupy movement, which I happen to think is a fascinating grassroots movement. And I just think it's wonderful to see citizens getting engaged, wanting to have that voice, and finding creative ways to do it. And I know that many cities around the country have had to remove folks because they run into, it's that fine line between self-expression, ability to have that freedom of speech, and also the ability to keep the rest of the population safe and healthy. And there have been some, you know, blocking of public entrances, the health of a place that wasn't meant to have camping because it doesn't have the facilities that would provide for that. And so it's that interesting balance between how do we empower citizens to have that voice? How do we let them express their frustration as they have a right to do, but also keep our other citizens safe, give them access to those public places, and not infringe on their rights? So it's an interesting debate. If I were teaching my political science class right now, I would have that debate
Correct.
in class about, you know, First Amendment and where those rights begin and end with respect to other citizens' rights. So back to the ordinances, a lot of folks are worried that they have gone too far and that they are based on the kind of protests we're going to have, because any big convention attracts protests.
Correct.
As well as supporters, because we have free speech, we want both sides. And that happens at the Republican convention as well. It happens at G8 conferences in other parts of the country. So we're going to attract that. And what we want to do is allow for peaceful, managed protest so that no one gets hurt. Because really what our community wants is to keep people safe, let them have that voice, but not to go to the point of violence. And that's, you know, that's not always easy to do. And the police have to be trained in sort of, you know, when does it get to the level of you have to arrest someone to remove them because they are being so unsafe or violent. And where, you know, how far do you let them go if they're just shouting and creating a, you know, kind of a nuisance. And that training, we are working with security forces. Of course, the Secret Service is very integral to this whole process because they've done it all over the country, other events of this nature and this size. And so we're going to get extra training for our police officers, again, a plus, because that training stays with them, that adds to their expertise.